Moot morning, moot morning, moot morning, moot morning.
Now, of course, being on the team as a brief writer or as an oral advocate or both certainly is a time commitment. I never want to try to sell this program as something that is not going to take time. I firmly believe that the more you put into this program, the more you will get out of it. And so it is time consuming, just like a lot of things. My hope is always that it's a labor of love. But can you talk about how you handled that time commitment? What did you see, or what benefit or concern did you have regarding that whole time commitment issue?
Well, I definitely remember when I was a 1L thinking about trying out for the team, the time commitment was the primary concern on my mind. That was definitely what I was most worried about. 1L year was very busy and took a lot of time, and I was about to begin a 2L year. I had signed up for the journal. I also had internships I was doing during the summer and during the school year. And so I thought, well, can I do this? Can I also add moot court? But I had talked to the other mooters, on the team at the time. They said, well, yeah, you can do it because that's what we're doing. Pretty much. Many people on the moot court team, juggle, journal or scholar, internships, jobs, lots of other things. So it is very doable. And I'm glad that I didn't let the time concern hold me back, because, it all worked out and all the pieces fell into place and I was able to do it. But with that being said, you're right. It definitely is a very serious time commitment. And there were definitely some long days. But people should know that there is an ebb and flow to the moot court season. It's not, always, you're not, at least for me, I wasn't always preparing for a competition. And for the competitions in which I only wrote a brief, most of my work stopped once the brief was submitted. I still attended most of the practices and helped out, in that regard and provided feedback. But most of my work would stop once the brief was submitted if I only wrote the brief. But even if I was an oral advocate too, we're not always working on a competition, so there is sort of some downtime. So there isn't, the time commitment, I guess you could say, fluctuates a little bit, and the practice schedule is flexible. And like you mentioned, it's a labor of love. So, for me, and I think for everyone on the team, we just enjoy it and love it so much. It's, when you're having fun and enjoying what you're doing, you don't worry about the time commitment anymore. You could even say it becomes a moot point.
Oh,
That was so good.
oh, Devin. Wow. Great to see you. Wow. All right. So, and you brought up a good point there, and that is not the moot point. That was great too. But the point that I wanted to highlight was this ebb and flow aspect to the team, because some of these 2Ls, in fact, quite a few of these 2Ls may only have one tournament in the fall, and so they will be busy for a period of time. And even when they are busy, I do try to accommodate schedules and work through different conflicts that may be out there.
Yeah, definitely.
You're never going to be sitting in a moot court practice from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m.
No.
But you may be in a moot court practice 2 or 3 times a week for a 45-minute period of time when you're meeting with me and we're going through an argument. So, I want those 2Ls to understand, just like you said, that ebb and flow is really important. As a 3L, I think you become more involved. And that was certainly, I think, your experience, was it not?
Yeah, because at the 3L years, I think when I took on more of the trying out for the oral advocacy, so it was taking a little bit more time at that point. And at that point, as a 3L, I think, and having gone through law journal, I did journal twice, in 2L and 3L year. And so, the 2L year, I was able to kind of work out the, time management, prioritizing, and just juggling everything. And it's a skill like anything else. So I think, the 2L year, I was able to kind of figure out how to manage all these different things. And even though the workload probably did increase that 3L year, I was, luckily able to kind of stay on top of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I recognize that the priority of students going to law school is to do well in law school. I recognize that, and that grades are an incredibly important part of that, as well as other extracurricular activities that may not be moot court. I can't believe there are any others, but I'm sure that those are equally important to students, and I respect that, or I try to. And so, the time, it's always kind of an interesting question that comes up, but I do think in moot court, there's an effort at least to recognize that and respect it and try to work around it.
Yeah, there definitely is. Definitely.
What are some of your favorite memories of moot? Do you other than, the wins, or I'm sure those are some favorite memories, but no, really, what are some of your favorite memories of moot?
I really liked the traveling, getting to travel to the competitions. That was a lot of fun. I got to visit several cities I had never been to before. It was the first time I had been to DC. So that was really cool. And the competition in DC, the Thurgood Marshall Memorial Competition, the final round is always held in the Court of Appeals for the Armed Forces. And so I wasn't in that final round, but we had another team who was. And so I got to see the Court of Appeals for the Armed Forces, which is a beautiful courtroom. It's really beautiful, and I probably would not have had any other top opportunity to ever see it. So that was really cool to be able to see that courtroom.
Sammy, do you have any questions for Devin?
No, but I do. Just the comment that I've had for other people is just that, even though we've never actually met, we've corresponded back and forth, and that's because of this connection that we have, through moot court and stuff. And he always gives back, so I want to say thank you. And also that it's actually finally nice to meet you.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah, good to meet you too, Nancy.
Do you feel like you use any of the skills that you learned? I know some of those skills were important to you going in. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you've actually acquired and been able to use skills that you gained through moot court?
Yeah, definitely. I've had 2 jobs now since graduating in 2017. Both have been writing intensive. So I wrote, I think, 6 or 7 briefs for moot court competitions. And so, the writing that I use now is definitely, it's a skill like any other that you develop every single time you do it. It gets, you always get better. And there's always opportunity to learn new things and to notice new things and to refine that skill. And so being able to do that so many times on moot court, I think has definitely helped me now. Learning to go through a record, you're given the moot court problem, is a record. They give you a fact pattern, and definitely not as voluminous as real records, but records nonetheless. And so you learn to go through those and to find what's interesting, to find what's relevant, to weed out what's not relevant. You'll learn to find, the cases that you're going to need, how to tie those cases to those facts. And that's just basic lawyering skills, I think. No matter what you end up doing. I don't do appeals, but those are portable skills that are going to serve you well everywhere, and they're in demand. And so I definitely use that. And then also just, I guess you can say, the soft skills, things like time management, prioritizing, creative thinking, problem solving, things like that. I think definitely play a huge role in what I do, and probably what every lawyer does. So.
Yeah, Devin, thank you for spending time with us this morning. It's obviously great to see you.
Good to see you.
I also just want to thank you for all the time that you continue to contribute to the team. You know, when we have needed brief graders or brief judges, when I've had mooters on the team, including Natsumi, but others as well, that have had questions about brief writing, have needed some direction, you have given of your time without any concern. And so thank you so much for just continuing to give back to the team. It means a lot to me, and it means a whole lot to those mooters that you're helping out. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. And if I could just, mention that I'm still available for future mooters. I mean, if mooters have questions, we got this Zoom technology now, so I can meet with them by Zoom and talk to, it's almost like the real thing. Not quite, but
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that, and I think we may do that. Out of all the craziness, there are some benefits, I think, that we're realizing to some of the technology, and things that we never really used before, or at least I didn't. But
I had never used this before either. But it's good.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's amazing. We can be so far away, and yet we can have these face-to-face, virtually conversations. Devin, what would you say to those folks that may be on the fence right now? Their, tryouts are starting tomorrow. They can sign up anytime during the week. I don't know. I don't know if I should try out or not. What do you say to that mooter in the making that might or might not decide to try out?
Don't live with regrets. So just do it. If you're on the fence about it, if you're thinking about it, there's probably a reason why. There's a reason why you're drawn to it. There's a reason why you're interested. You're kind of curious about it. There's a reason why you're on the fence. So just try out, and don't have any regrets about it. And you never know what'll happen. Trust me, it'll probably be, like most people say, one of the best experiences that they've had in law school. I mean, it definitely was for me. I loved it. I can't imagine doing law school without having done moot court. Best memories I have of law school. So if you're on the fence, just do it. It's gonna be awesome. Trust me.
Devin, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And as we like to say in San Antonio and Virginia, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks, Devin.
You're welcome, guys.
Thanks, Devin.
You're welcome. See you later.